Hello there, very warm greetings everyone. This is Nick reviewing the games over and over and over and over endlessly. So you might be watching this as a part of a playlist, or you might have just clicked on this video individually. But here we go, is a part of the index. We're going to look at reviewed Amiga games on the channel Commodore Amiga from 601 through to 650. Here we go. The first game then is Work Team Rally. It's a top-down racing game where it's very difficult to overtake. It's a bit clunky, it's a bit slow, but it does scroll okay. It's no supercars, but you might be able to get some fun out of it if you work out how to overtake. The sound effects look like they're pulled from a public domain library, but never mind. If you got it free on a cover dish, you might like it, but if you paid any money for the thing, I think you'll be slightly annoyed. But anyway, here it is, Work Team Rally. It's not really a rally, it's on a circuit. Better dead than alien, well I suppose so. Interesting sound on this one, but it does feel a bit basic, and stuff takes a lot of shooting. As we do more and more Commodore Amiga games, we see more that's a little bit below average, and this is one where it's not terrible exactly, but it just hasn't got a lot of oomph compared to games like Swiv or Xenon 2, so it's the after ones that you might not have seen. It's a little bit weedy, a bit like a desktop game that you might have had on a PC, but anyway, better dead than alien. Crash and burn, converted from the arcades. This is quite good fun. Bash into stuff, survive as long as you can, and judge your jumps by jumping over things. Review the game also on the Atari 2600, which plays a little bit different to this. The music is okay. Again, it's not a AAA title, but you could have had a bit of fun back in the day with this thing. The car is jumping all over the place. The physics aren't really that real, but they're not supposed to be. Jump, here we go. Will you make it to the other side? Go up and down the screen to judge the distance of your jumping. California Games, a bit of a mismatch this. It's a number of games to perfect, including surfing and, skating. This one is the foot sack thing. We need to kick this ball up in the air doing various stunts. The loading times aren't particularly good. I think this is held in high regard, this game, but I didn't particularly like the thing. But there we go. If you're in California, surely there's something better to do than this. Projectile. Now, I like this one. Great music. Sort of like this idea similar but different to Speedball 2. It's you against two other people, and you must knock this ball into the goal. It doesn't matter which goal, as long as it's the goal that isn't yours of the other two. It's a little bit complicated first of all, but there's different pictures and stuff, and this can get very, very addictive if it's you, a friend, and a computer opponent, and I ended up liking this a lot more than I thought I was going to do. It's a projectile, and you're knocking a projectile around a futuristic arena. Sub Rally, yes, well, it's one of these ones. If you want any more information about any of these games, then check out the full review in the Amiga playlist. But here, it doesn't look like we've got much room to work with. Stray a little bit off the side and you'll be bashing into stuff like this and getting very, very annoyed. There's not much to it. It seems like the game isn't finished, and I desperately want a championship. It's not Ivan Stewart's Iron Man off-road racer, is it? It's nothing like that, and it's a little bit dull. Stormlord. Now, it's got a lot of atmosphere on this, a lot of good sound on the thing, and it's not too bad. I mean, it takes a bit of working out, and some of the artwork is a little bit racy, but I didn't get that far into the game to actually see that. Collect keys, solve puzzles, to unlock doors to get to other bits of the map, and rescue fairies from weird crystal balls. So what could be more stranger and mystical than this? The bloke looks a bit old, but never mind. Perhaps you've been playing this for a while. Stormlord, the Lord of the Storm. Turbo tracks, and that more top-down racing, better than that last one. Scrolls good, it's got good speed to the thing, but it's tricky to win. It's easy to see where you are, very reminiscent of Micro Machines on the Mega Drive. You won't get too many faster than this. You need to learn the courses and have quick reactions. So if you want something quicker than Nitro, then this is the thing for you, but yes, you've got to be on the case because you don't see a great distance in front of you as you're driving, so one of the more challenging top-down racers. Turbo indeed. Mega Motion, it's one of those crazy puzzle games that does something that no other game does. You're controlling these balls that are on a node. Some other levels have about 5 or 6 balls. By clicking on one, it spins around on its axis there, and you to bash blocks, avoid getting bopped, and then get to the exit each time. It will test your skills. There's different music in the thing, and it's very, very addictive. I thought this was good, Mega Motion. A very good game that I wish that I had back in the day. play. Bike Man, influenced by Pac-Man, of course, of which there is many, many, many. And, you know, it's alright for what it is. You pretty much know what you're going to get. Go around this huge, huge maze, collecting all the power pills and all the pellets and stuff. There's a few upgrades here. Feels like it's been designed with Amos. I'm not sure if that is the case, rather than a big company behind it. I sure couldn't find any artwork to produce in terms of box covers, and maybe it was on a disc you got free somewhere. Zarathustra, influenced by the arcade game Thrust, which we reviewed on a number of systems. This does that and more, but anyway, collect this ball and lift it off up to the heavens. Other levels will have you trying to rescue prisoners and things like that. But yeah, a bit of inertia. You either like these games or you don't. If you had a Commodore Amiga and like these sort of games, then this is definitely one to check out. Highly recommended there. And it's good graphics, good sound, good presentation overall. A lot of thought has been put into this game. Hotball, no thought's been put into this game. When you're up against Kickoff 2, Micro Pro Soccer, which this moves more like, and Sensible World of Soccer, you want to come up with something good. And this game was absolutely poor. It's one-on-one football with you and the goalkeeper, but I found it very hard to get the ball. You can't do large shots, you can't do swerves or anything like that. So most of the time I was just defending over and over. You wouldn't want to spend all day on a wet afternoon playing this one. Plutos, another vertical scrolling shooter that looks like it's been made for some construction kit. It's fast enough, but it doesn't have enough power-ups, and also it's another one of those also rans. I think there's a lot of these style games that have been made by one or two people just in their bedroom to see what's possible. It feels like a Commodore 64 game, but here it is presented in 6-bit, so 16-bit. So whether that was in the hole between the development of one and the other, or people just wanted to get games out, but very lackluster. The graphics look like Minesweeper or something. Rolling Ronnie. Yes, you control this guy on his roller skates, hence why he's rolling about. Collect items. Very chocolate boxy, very cute. Not as good as James Pond Robocod, but what isn't? If you like platformer games, then this is a quite nice one to play. Rolling Ronnie is a clown, and he's blooming scary if you ask me. Collect coins and just, you know, do your stuff. There's not much more I can say about this. The music is sort of like okay. Woody's World, another one of these scrolling ones. I think this is a little bit confusing, this game, where you needed to go, but you're a wizard called Woody, and you must get as many coins as you possibly can. And you know, it's a genre that we've looked at a few times before. It's nothing special. There's a few secret rooms to discover, but nothing there to stand out from the pack, but it isn't bad either. It's a little bit slippery in the controls, and that's one criticism I might have of this game. It could be a little bit easier. Carnage, top-down racing games are the best in the style of Super Sprint. You're very, very zoomed out here, so it feels a little bit arcadey, which isn't a bad thing. I think it might be public domain that this great sounds all the way around, and I was a fan of this for what it's worth, but I'm always a sucker for these sort of games anyway. Try and come first, buy upgrades, don't get lost. Sometimes the steering is a little bit awkward as you get around, but that's where you need skill on a lot of these things. It just makes me want to play it down the arcades with a steering wheel at the side versus my mates. World Soccer, another also ran, but this has got good highlights. It's like management style, put your players where you need to, tell them what to do, and then watch the game play out, and this is the best bit of it really. These highlights were pretty good. Try and win everything in the World Cup, but it says World Soccer, but this is Sochaux versus Juventus. Just see how many highlights. Could get old quite quickly once you're used to all those highlights playing, but a kid might spend a bit of time on this one and get involved quite deeply. Boof! Save! The Deep. Unusual game, this one. You're dropping depth charges on stuff to then, you know, try and work out what's going on, trying to upload weapons, an extra bit of the map to get to the different screens, but, you know, blow up as much stuff as you possibly can, and that's pretty much it, really. It moves quite slow. There's not much to draw you back in this one, and I thought it's a little bit mysterious. Mysterious girl. It's not mysterious. I wanted a cyan submarine in this one. Check out the review for more information. World Trophy Soccer, yes. Well, you know, if you're used to games like Italia 90 and all those sorts of stuff, Striker is that sort of view, although all those games are better. I got my bum handed to me this. I think I lost about 28 billion plays to nil, which means I found it difficult to get hold of. It's alright if you're looking for football games, but if you want a game of this sort of view, go for Striker instead, or, you know, Italy 90, or it might be Italian 90, which I played a lot back in the day. Tunnels of Armageddon. Now, you need quick reflexes here. We're speeding through various tunnels. We've got to find the right path quickly. Don't bump into anything. Go up and down. Shoot stuff out the way. And I found this was pretty cool. I felt like I was in a movie. I did like it when the colours changed, but you need to be fast. You're controlling it with a mouse, so left and right. Shoot stuff out the way. Don't crash, because that will cost you time. Tunnels of Armageddon, remember to blink. Don't play this if you have fits, but I thought it was rather groovy. Amiga Karate, well, obviously influenced by Way of Exploding Fist on 8-bit games. The bouts are too long, in my opinion. When you're up against Street Fighter 2 and all those ones, then what makes this memorable? You're always versus the same person, it seems. A blue person versus a red person needs more moves when you're up against the IK Plus, which was, I think, was the best fighting game that the Commodore Amiga had to offer when it came to karate. That's just my opinion. MF Tanks, that stands for microfield tanks, influenced by, battle tanks from the arcades. You're going through this 3D map, trying not to get destroyed by other enemy tanks. Look, there's a radar in the top middle there. As soon as you see them, in vector style, blow them up before they blow you up. And that's it, really. Survive as long as you can. I think someone's crashing into me. And yeah, MF tanks, microfield tanks, maybe not the ruder one, which you were thinking of. Steg the Slug. It's a puzzle game. You control this green slug, and he must feed his babies before they die of starvation. And you do this by climbing walls and triggering special moves and using obstacles and jetpacks and everything to do that. So a puzzle game, a bit like a puzzle game like Lemmings would be. You put all your babies in bubbles, they float up, and you must guide them to, the food. The bugs feed them to your children without and dying. Level completed. Dominator, a very slow moving vertical scrolling shoot 'em up, in which I prefer the Commodore 64 version. Now the aspect ratio looks like it should be a horizontal scrolling shooter rather than a vertical scrolling shooter, so I think they might have done a bit of a boo-boo here, but it's not particularly exciting, and sometimes the map gets so narrow it gets rather hard to weave through the thing. Good luck if you completed this thing. Budokan, the martial spirit. You need to be proficient in different levels of martial arts with different weapons, and you do this by going to different areas of the map and selecting different training before you go on a mission to try and beat up all the best people in the whole world. It's a strategy run rather than a button masher. Fights might last a bit longer while you're trying to lure your opponent in to get the best moves, create strength, and generally get bigger, build up your warrior. Quantox. First of all, it doesn't seem like too much, but what we got here under the hood is a rather addictive game. You're also like in this maze, and enemies will come at you from level to level. You must destroy them all, but they've got various things that they can do. It's very, very slippery indeed. There's upgrades to get to, and I like this a lot more than what I really should have done, because in screenshots it looks particularly naff and rubbish, but it isn't. You don't die straight away. If you bump into stuff, you've got this shield in the bottom right, and you can replenish that energy sometimes. Bubblegum, you're a crocodile in this platformer, and basically shooting stuff to get to the exit. You can fire bubbles to encircle your people. You need to get various items like all of these and then unlock the exit at the end. And that's pretty much it. It feels a bit basic. There's no music in the game, which would have been quite nice. You're a crocodile. You've got a bubble gun which you use to shoot enemies with your bubbles. There we go. And I think it's just going to get to the end of the level. There we go. XP8, this looks quite nice as shooters go. It's better than a lot of those average ones we looked at earlier on. The graphics are good. They look like they've been retro-scoped or whatever it's called. And the backgrounds are groovy too. It's just lacking ever so slightly to put it into greatness. But the sort of one, if I bought it back in the day on budget, I wouldn't have been too disappointed, despite it not being up to the level of Xenon 2, but it's got good graphics, it's got good enemies, and I like the way the ship moves left and right, so effort's been made with this game. Croak, it's I think it's a public domain version of Frogger. Sometimes the controls are a little bit not responsive, and sometimes it's a bit hard to get in the bays at the end, but overall I think it's pretty good. There's a lot of bays compared to the arcade version, so it's harder to do than that, but it's Frogger, there's not much traffic, and it gradually more difficult, so it is quite faithful to that original machine. If you like Frogger, you know, the Commodore Amiga. Here's Croak. Maybe you can get the hang of that. Good luck, matey poo. Robozone. It's a bit dark. Feels like a commercial Atari ST, which a lot of the conversions were quite dark. You need to go through different worlds controlling your walker, and I never got off level 1 trying to find the way out to the New York subway. There's been a lot of pollution. You've got to clear it up. Vigilante gangs are running around, and using this Ed 209 looking thing that's been painted green, you must sort this all out and bring crime under control, and also stop pollution as well, I think. A bit lost on this one. Little Puff in Dragonland is following the idea of Dizzy from the 8-bit games, where you need to go around and collect items and put them back into the right place. Look at that, it's not really using much of the screen, you can see, because it's put some details around this like play area. Yeah, ridiculously small play, but I would prefer the 8-bit version of this, and I think that's really where it should have stayed. There's no real reason to see this in 16-bit land. I wonder how many copies it would have sold. Walker, more advanced version than Robozone, that's what that should have been. You control this walker in a city, and what we have is an out-and-out shooter. Controlled again with the mouse, destroy everything that comes in your path, don't get shot yourself, and go through this apocalyptic world. I thought it was pretty cool, although it wasn't paced particularly well, and you know, it's by Psygnosis, you can expect quality there, but the levels seem to go on way too long. But having said that, it looks absolutely gorgeous, and it sounds gorgeous too. Bob's Bad Day, a curious little puzzle here. Rotate the screen, don't get too dizzy, to move this decapitated head to collect all the coins. It will bamboozle your brain with some of the upgrades, which like reverse the controls, like wacky right gravity. What the hell's going on now? So collect all the coins and then get to the exit without getting bopped. It gets progressively more difficult, and you know, good luck completing the whole game in one go. Without going completely and utterly doolally. I think my voice almost went then. Dennis from the kids cartoon Dennis in the United States. It's not particularly good, this one. It's a coin collecting thing, and there's a guy, I think it might be Mr. Wilson. It looks a bit more like Saddam Hussein in this, and it's almost impossible, I found, to get past him, and I don't think I would have got more further than that really. So it's not designed particularly well. So I like the idea, but not designed very well indeed. Bram Stoker's Dracula, a lot of character in this one, although it does look like you're controlling a guy that looks a bit like Han Solo from Star Wars. You need to, well, you're in Dracula's castle, you need to destroy all the vampires by finding their coffins, in particular the brides of Dracula. I don't know why. He's up to no good probably, by kicking bats and smashing through doors, collecting items, and yeah. I like the dark graphics of it. It's not brilliant, but I quite liked it anyway. Pretty good. Racing now, hard driving from the arcades. Frame rate could be a little bit better, but acceptable for the time in this polygon world. You know, it recreates the arcade game quite well compared to other versions I've played, although the Mega Drive was the best one. You need to create a fastest lap before the time runs out, so you can race the Phantom Photon, who's got a blue blocky car. Use either the speed track or the stunt track, which involves a loop-to-loop, and judge your speed over those. If you crash, you get a rather slow replay. Run the gauntlet. The screen's scrolling on this one, as it's doing, which the Spectrum one didn't do. Multiple events over land and water. Overtaking is a bit annoying at times. If you bash into the enemy, you seem to be penalised, but to compete as a country over all these events to try and qualify and take home the spoils. It takes a bit of mastering this. I like the graphics, I would have played it a little bit, but I don't think I would have won very often overall, especially on the water events, where sometimes it's a bit tricky to see where you're going. Football Manager, now this is taking it right back to the beginning of football management games. This one's by Kevin J. Toms. You can't get much more basic than this, with a few more highlights in there too. So if you don't like selecting absolutely everything with modern day management games, and you want something a little bit quicker, a bit more basic, then here you go. It's the original one. It was all based off Football Manager. Strong reliant on Workbench, as you can see by that bit across the top there. Are they going to score? Are they not going to score? Grand Prix 500 too. First of all, it looks okay. Look, it's divided into two bits of the screen, the map up the top and the playing area down the bottom, but the bike slips around like nobody's business. But again, it's there to be mastered. Guess your speed, but the traction of this thing is not particularly good, and that's what annoyed me the most. It's up there trying to compete with games like No Second Prize, which is another brilliant biking game with the mouse, and it's not quite as good as that. Iron Truckers, God, awful this thing is. Right, it's in one player, so that means it duplicates the action in two screens, as opposed to two player. You can't quite see where you're going. You want a quad bike, and I think you need to deliver supplies to different cities in this apocalyptic world. How many supplies you can get on one quad bike for an entire city, I do not know. I can't see the road. It's mysterious where you're going. And it's a very, very sad excuse for a game that should never existed in the first place. It's super rubbish. One of the worst I've ever played. The Ultimate Ride, another biking game. Again, the frame rate could be a little bit better. It leans a bit like Team Suzuki, which was a game I quite liked when I had a demo of it on a Amiga magazine. Yeah, takes some mastering again. I could see myself playing this a bit. Sometimes the side mirrors work, sometimes they don't. It's got a bit of lean on it, which isn't easy to control. Might play a bit better on an Amiga 1200, so that might be a bit better experience, but I do feel like I'm in the action, so worth persisting with. African Raider 01, I don't know where the 01 is from. It's dark again, which seems to suggest an Atari ST conversion. But, you know, again, it's one of these racing games where you can't quite see the road. The levels are too long. Where the hell am I going? I can't hold on. Overtaking is almost impossible on this course, unless you go off-road and try and get around them. It's not very enjoyable at all, and I don't know why you want to stay with it. So there's quite a few poor racers within this 50 that we've looked at this time round. Skidoo, another poor game. I think these are by Cocktail Vision, I think. And, you know, they're getting a whole heap of terrible games. Where's the sounds? I can't see the road again. Maybe that's what they specialise in. Stuff. We're racing across Canada, apparently. When we run out of food, there's a hunting section where we need to shoot animals to restore our food. But why? Why? Actually, I think it might be Laurie Sell, having said that. But again, it is not very good. The Jungle Book, this is by Cocktail Vision. Oh, ooby doo, I don't want to be like you, ooh, woo, doobie doobie doo doo. It's a very flat game that I don't want to play too. Yes, it doesn't capture the fun of Jungle Book. There's Mowgli there trying to shoot people or enemies with bananas and get to some palace or somewhere, I think, but it's hopeless. If you like the Jungle Book cartoon, you'll be felt ripped off by this appalling sort of like game. I'm not impressed with this one. No Exit, Cocktail Vision again, getting slightly better with the animation, but not particularly brilliant compared to some fighting games. Everyone wears green trousers in this, but you can turn into sort of like an alien or beastie at various occasions. The background's quite good, reminds me of the scenery of the original Star Trek show, so they're starting to find their feet, but haven't really landed it as of yet, but better stuff than what they were doing before. No Exit? Well, I think we will exit, please. Goblins with 3 eyes. Now, Cocktail Vision, well done, you're getting your act together, and this turned into a series. You control 3 goblins. You need to solve puzzles by directing them on the screen, picking out items and dropping them in various places. The puzzles aren't obvious, so it's probably best using a guide. I seem to fluke the first one, but my chance of completing the whole game on my own would be comical, and I wouldn't be able to do it. But the humour is there, like The Secret of Monkey Island, puzzle-based single-screen games. Cougar Falls, yes, you're a man, walking very oddly like he's dying to go to the toilet, punching these people as he escapes prison. If you escape the prison, then there's a very curious flight simulation thing where I couldn't even work out how to fly the plane. It looks like a mismatch of stuff where they didn't really know quite what they was doing. Cougar Falls, some boys might have bought this expecting something else with a name like that, but yeah, another one to avoid, but good to see it from a historical point of view. Goblins 2, The Prince Buffoon, sequel to Goblins with 3 eyes. This time you're only controlling 2 goblins, and it's slightly easier to navigate because of that. Again, there's a lot of humour here, and it's slightly better than that first game, and I did get a bit further to it. But again, click on everything, experiment what you need to do. The interface isn't too bad. The puzzles, although they're still tricky, they're not quite as complicated to work out, and you can get it eventually. Goblins 2, we'll probably come up to other ones in the series if they're available on the Amiga. Legend of the Exploding Fist, now this is a homebrew by iAndrews. and he's obviously looked at the original Commodore 64 version of Way of the Exploding Fist, and he's brought it here. Doesn't compare with Arcade Plus, but it's not supposed to. That was more advanced. But what he has done is recreated it faithfully from the Commodore 64 version, and it is slightly improved. So hats off to him. It's good to see, and I did enjoy playing the thing. Defeat your opponent, get as far as you possibly can, see as much as the different scenery as you possibly can. Thumbs up. Paragliding Simulation. Now this is an annoying game. It's a very, very, very long loading times. Over different levels, you need to take up your paraglider, maneuver up or down, and land smoothly on the landing platform, getting around any obstacles there might be. Now, I took a few attempts to actually do this. Some kids might have just given up because you time it slightly wrong and you're dead, and also it takes a long time to get into the game to make any progress, so difficult, and loading times appalling. They are just about made it there. So I hope you liked having a look at those. If you liked any of the clips or want more information than what I gave you there, because I do tend to forget a bit as time goes by, check out the full review. But that was Amiga Games reviewed on the channel 601 through to 650. Thanks for watching, really appreciated. Please subscribe if you want to see more, and till next time, take great care of yourself and a very fond goodbye.
Goodbye.